So I want to talk about today what happens when the kids grow up and what comes after motherhood. So rediscovering your purpose really from motherhood. So, I've had that feeling. I have two teenage boys who are 17, 18 and once they hit those teenage years, things changed. And without warning, I suddenly discovered that my purpose was all about food. Once upon a time, it was, I'd hear all about their day and everything that was happening and a big part of the school. And now, once they hit going to high school, I don't know, just everything changed. It became no. And what happened today? Nothing. Did you learn anything? Nothing. No. And yeah. And like I said, everything's all about food now. And the main questions I get and conversation I have is what's for tea or what's there to eat. So, how life changes. And it definitely was a process, but I realized actually it's maybe an end of a chapter, but it's also opening up of another chapter, and a very new and exciting chapter, which is rediscovering what my purpose is after motherhood. And it is for every mother really that have kids that hit those teenage years. So our identity of mum is as deep as our core really. Like you grow these little babies in your tummy, and then they come and they're a part of you, and they, for some time there, that is your sole purpose, is to raise these little babies and to get them to becoming teenagers and adults where they are independent. So it's natural that once they no longer have that need for us, that there's a confusion or an emptiness. So it's quite natural to think, what now, or who am I? So for me, I think it all contributed to me waking up. I told my story in the first vlog, and this was also a part of what, created the momentum to wake up and to work out what my purpose is, was this loss of identity and realizing that, what happens now? So it's not actually about reinventing yourself or trying to fix yourself or anything. It's actually just rediscovering parts of you, or parts of me, that used to make you sing, used to make you just be so alive and so happy. And it could be art if you're artistic. For me, it was bushwalking. I love nature and being out in the bush and bushwalking. But it's also starting to follow the passions that I had before children, and turning those passions into a career, which is what I'm doing with my coaching and with my the Reiki, the energy healing. It's a passion, and now I'm turning that into my career. So just ask yourself questions to help you with this shift, and think, what have I put on hold to have these babies? What brings me joy, or what used to bring me joy? What kind of woman do I want to become? What have I secretly longed to do? What lights me up? So for me, it's like I said, bushwalking, but it's going on overnight bushwalks, like treks. It just absolutely lights me up. And also, like I said, my career. So I have to say, part of my journey was fear and guilt. The guilt that, am I allowed to give myself time? Am I allowed to do things just for me? Because for so many years your first thought were your children or your family, and suddenly suddenly it's now I actually have time where I can do things for me. So it's letting go of those guilt feelings or fear feelings, and it's just about allowing yourself to have freedom, about following your purpose, about having growth. Like I've said before, is that my word for this year is exploration, and exploration means so much to me. It's about exploring who Rachel is, as well as going on amazing bushwalks and so forth. So I know from experience it is a phase, and it takes time to realize that you get to this point and think, oh, actually I can do stuff for myself now. I can follow my dream, or I can follow a new career or a new purpose, new direction. So initially there's a lot of mood swings, and maybe even a sense of grief. You're grieving a loss. And for me, my waking up, I'd actually involved getting help. Like I got help with my coaches, and with working through a lot of the self-sabotage behaviors that I was doing, and being able to do a lot of self-reflection and have self-awareness to be able to manage myself, really. Pretty much it is. And I was releasing that guilt, that fear, that those limiting beliefs that I can't do things for myself, or I've got to put everyone else first before I put myself first. So it's that's where I worked with my coach to shift those limiting beliefs and limiting emotions, and my self-sabotage behavior of eating too much and drinking too much to numb all my emotions. I journaled. I did so much journaling, and it really does help get it all out, and it just frees up that space. And practicing mindfulness, so doing meditation, or gratitude journals, or just walking. I did a lot of walking, and just listening to that inner truth. And it's even trying something that you used to love doing, like being artistic, or taking photographs, or going for a walk, or even something as simple as volunteering. It's about just finding what lights you up again. So for me, the benefits of having a coach, I just don't think I can put it into enough words why that is so beneficial. It's your coach supports you, and they empower you to navigate this change. And it is a change. It's a transition that's going through, and if you have a skilled coach, and the process doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to take forever. It can be quite a quick, simple process that can actually be even enjoyable. So it's about coming to the realization that you can actually put yourself first. And I tell everyone, you can't pour from an empty cup, so you need to fill up your cup to be able to give. And once you start doing that, it's actually becomes effortless to give, because you're just full of joy, full of happiness. So a coach just helps you rediscover who you are, helps you rediscover what do you value, what are your values, what lights you up. And once you can remove some of those limiting beliefs, limiting emotions, it frees up that space for those to come through. So I know my own journey with my coach, was both exciting, but it was also daunting. I can barely believe how far I've grown now, and how my life has just taken off. And I'm so excited about where I am now, and I'm excited about the future because it is limitless. And my belief within myself now that it's my God-given right to follow my purpose and follow my dreams and my desires, and I'm doing that. And the fear and the guilt's gone, and I am living my absolute best life. And I know that every woman has that right, and every woman has that ability to do that. So, this new chapter, when your children have gone into teenagehood and don't need you as much, especially once they get those P's and they don't even need you for driving, embrace it. It's a time for rediscovery. It's a time for, putting you first. So just remember that a coach is beneficial. I have had a few coaches, and every single one of them has helped me through a process and through the next stage or the next stage. And just remember that lovely saying that a problem shared is a problem halved. So if you're ready to get some help, I'd be more than happy to help you with that journey. Or there's plenty of amazing people out there who would be able to help as well. But just know that this new chapter that is coming, or you're in, maybe even you've gone past it or through it. There's so many opportunities out there, and through the power of your thought and your beliefs, it is exciting and it is limitless, and it can be as amazing and as powerful as you want it to be. So I hope this little talk has been helpful, and I look forward to talking to you next time. So remember, you can find me at Enrich Your Life with Rachel. Everything is so accessible over Zoom. You don't have to be in my town, which is a small country town in New South Wales. But, reach out, have a chat. I'd love to have a chat with you and find out where you're at in life and, what makes you sing. So Pebbles and I will see you next time. Bye.